Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, good on the government for introducing Bill 10 yesterday, but this is kind of like the new royalty frameworks that they introduced after getting the original new royalty framework so wrong. Wouldn't it have been better to avoid all the anger, hostility, and confusion by getting it right the first time? And there was a template for this, Mr. Speaker. Ontario's Places to Grow Act offered a sound basis for regional planning that kept landowner rights intact and did not give monolithic power to the Ontario Cabinet. To the Premier, why did this government so grossly overstep its boundaries in implementing legislation for regional planning when other effective examples existed within Canada?
The Honourable Premier.
Actually, Mr. Speaker, to argue with the member in terms of whether the land planning that he talked about in Ontario is better policy, which I vehemently disagree. But anyways, we heard from all industry and Albertans that we have to protect a very finite land base, protect our water, our air, and also, most importantly, the quality of our land. And as a result, we consulted Albertans for a number of years. We put a bill together called Bill 36, and that bill was debated here in the House. And
the Honourable Member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Why should Albertans, who certainly don't seem to feel like they were consulted or at least listened to, trust this government to restore landowner rights in Bill 10, since it was the same government that introduced Bills 19, 36, and 50 in 2009 that infringe on landowner rights?
The Honourable.
Actually, Mr. Speaker, Bill 19, Bill 36, and Bill 50 actually supported landowner rights. I don't know where the Honourable Member is getting that. And he should take the time and have a look at Bill 19. It actually protects landowners. For years, this government sterilized land before they bought land for large transportation projects. Now we have to buy that land or remove all restrictions within 2 years. That definitely enhances landowner policy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, Mr. Speaker, since the first regional plan under Bill 36 will involve the lower Athabasca area, which contains a great deal of land that requires conservation, and given that the failed Alberta Parks Act last fall was pulled because it was more about commercial development in parks than protecting them, what measures will this government take in this regional plan's conservation efforts that will restore Albertans' trust?
The Honourable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, and that is the purpose of the land use framework, to make sure that Albertans come together and decide what they want to see in their own community. And I'm not going to allow some of this opposition to allow these decisions to be made in court. Because if we don't get together as Albertans and decide what we're going to do with our communities, and I don't want any doggone judge that's going to listen from evidence from outside the community or outside this country to implement policy for Albertans. It's not going to happen under my watch.
The Honourable Member for Ellerslie, followed by the Honourable Member for Calgary-Buffalo.